East LA needs to rise up. We need to remember who we are. We need to remember the pride that we stand for. We need to remember the power and the spirits that surround us are with us all the time, so we should not fear. Instead, we should be helping the families that are out there. Instead, we should be taking control of our community so we don't see another death out there. By on my son has brought so much information.
Anthony Vargas, the mother.
Our mind situation. It's taught us
That was fucking expensive.
that we're all one.
Never.
We don't
I
see
should have. I
color,
felt like
we don't see
giving it back. Though.
names, we don't see any of that. We don't even see if you live in South Central, Long Beach, if you live in Oregon, if you live in Washington. We don't see any of that. Because at the end of the day, we're all family. We've become a family. We've become part of a family that we never wanted to become a part of. But it's the best family because that's where we find our strength. Our families of murdered children have come together so close that we know we can depend on one another. And when one falls, all of us fall. And we're there to pick each other up. Now, my sisters have been on the streets countless times when I can't be out there. And you know, I've been blessed to have the family that I have because we're able to stand. When I can't stand, my sisters rise. When they can't rise, then I rise. But not only are we seeing our families do that, we're seeing a lot of other families do that. We're seeing a lot of other families become more empowered when we're at our weakest. And don't think that this is an easy thing, because each time that we come up here, for each family that comes up here right now, remember their wounds are being ripped open all over again. We become vulnerable before you guys. We show our weaknesses. We show how painful this is for us. This is my son. This was my baby. He had just turned 21. He was only 21 for 2 weeks before they killed him. The narratives that they gave are ridiculous. They're so ridiculous that you can't even laugh because it's just like, it's disgusting. My son's name has been dragged through the mud because they could do that. Because nobody listens to the families. Nobody listens to what the family has to say about that child. They automatically assume that law enforcement is correct, that law enforcement is telling the truth, and that these were not victims, these were perpetrators, these were criminals. No, he wasn't. And everybody's gonna see that. And with Anthony's name, we're gonna create a lot of change, just like all the other families. Every family here is making a dent to build that hole, to bust open that wall that law enforcement thinks that they have up. Well, guess what? We're each chipping at it. We're each chipping at it, and it's going to get broken down. One way or another, we're going to break it down. And we're not going to stop. Nobody is going to stop in the struggle. Anthony has been representing East LA for a very long time. It's been more than 3 years now, or it's 3 years now. Everybody knows his name. Everybody sees his picture, but nobody really knows the story. We need to remember that these children, because they are all children, they were somebody's loved one, they were somebody's child, somebody's grandson, somebody's nephew, somebody's cousin. When we see these pictures, we need to ask questions, ask the right questions, and we need to remember when we hear their stories to share it with other people so that other people become aware of what's going on in our streets, because these are our streets. These streets belong to us. They don't belong to anybody else. Half of the sheriffs, half of LAPD, they live in other areas. They don't live here in East LA. So they get to go home to their pretty homes. They get to go home to their pretty streets, to their quiet streets that don't have crime. We have to stay here. They create chaos, and we're still here standing. And we're still lifting each other up. And we're still fighting for our streets. I'm fighting for my son. This is my son. And everybody's going to know who he was. Thank you.
Fuck the police. Anthony Vargas! Anthony Vargas!
Yeah, just echoing what my sister said. I just want to share this quick list of names of people who were murdered by the Sheriff's Department that are from East LA. Omar Garcia, 37 years old. Paul Rhea, 18 years old. Eddie Herrera, 51 years old. Ivan Peña, 42 years old. Fernando Cruz, 18. Rene Herrera, 39. My nephew Anthony Vargas, 21. Cesar Bautista, 37. Fidel Barrios, 33. Eduardo Edwin Rodriguez, 24. Ricardo Lara, 57. Daniel Ibarra, 26. Carlos Ernesto Olivasola, 23. Roberto Gabriel, 33. Juan Nunez, 34. Steve Rodriguez, 22. Emmanuel Joseph Franco, 25. Mark Anthony Jones, 36. George Serrano, who was murdered by the same deputy, Nicholas Perez, that murdered my nephew, 25. Two brothers, Jose Luis Hernandez, 7 years old. Marcos Hernandez, 9 years old. These aren't just names. These aren't just faces. These were community members. These were people that walked this park, people that walked on the boulevard. These were people from our community, people that we need to make sure we stand up for and fight back. Fuck the Sheriff's Department. Every Wednesday, Black Lives Matter is outside of the LAPPL, standing with families, holding space for families so that we can grieve there. And they're also there to educate us on how we can take down these associations that we know protect these deputies. The LAPPL and ALADS is where the deputies get the money to pay for the lawyers that are fighting against us in our civil cases. These are the associations we need to come after. Join us on Wednesdays with Black Lives Matter Los Angeles as we stand in front of the LAPPL to hold them accountable for the murder of our kids. Thank you.
Thank you so much to the family.